Welcome back, viewers. You're watching On the Spot. And our poll question tonight is, do you believe the bribery claims labelled against 3 government ministers and the authenticity of the documents tabled in Parliament? SMS your yes or no answer to 8778. We'll give you the results towards the end of this show. Our guest tonight, Honorable Karuhanga. We have a reaction, a comment quickly here on our Facebook page. Hassan Chibirango says, Karuhanga, brave move. And be at rest. You have the whole of Uganda behind you, all citizens who are painfully deducted off their salaries, traders who pay high taxes on goods, only to have this money swindled by those in power. We are for transparency and equitable governance. And like most of you have been saying on our Facebook page, there is a comment here from Sempaj Henry says, there can't be smoke without fire. Why the same names for every corruption scandal? Is that something you probably find painful? The fact that every time there is a scandal, we had Chogam, we had just a moment, we have a phone call. Opia, your question or comment, please. Opia from Kigali.
Yes, please.
Yes, Opia, you're calling from Kigali, is that right?
From Kigali.
Yes. Okay, your comment or question?
Yes, please. Comment is, in the first place, allow me to thank Honorable Karuhanga and all other MPs for their good job. I would like to inform the President that he should thank the MPs because they are doing a good job. Time has reached when, like most elderly people, our President cannot help some people. And the MPs are helping in cleaning the country. He had put up the cabinet that could help clean the country, and the MPs are doing their job. So let him step away. Secondly, MPs should not be threatened. Honorable Karuhanga should not be threatened. Some people are threatening to intimidate him. They are threatening to harm him. It cannot happen. The Mbabazis must be held accountable. Thank you so much.
Opia, before you go, Opia, can you hear me? Oh, okay. Opia watching us on from all the way from Kigali, and it's only possible if you're on DSTV because you can watch us all over this country, 100%, and then South Sudan and Somalia and Kenya, whoever has the DSTV decoder registered here in Uganda. Honorable, you've had his comment, but my question to you, obviously we want to come to the threats at some point.
Yes.
But again, my question to you is the fact that we have seen the same ministers through all the corruption scandals.
Yes.
Chogam, we had even, Gifted by Nature campaign, which was a CNN advertisement on, the Uganda ad on CNN, which raised issues with Kutesa. We had obviously the biggest of them all, Temangalo, that came up and had Mama Babazi all over it. Why is it that, and that's what everyone's asking, why is it that the same ministers are mentioned several times every time there is an issue with corruption and a scandal in this government?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we are saying. That look, why Honorable Mbama Mbabazi? Why Honorable Sam Kutesa? Why every time there is a corruption scandal, their names come out? Now, the other thing that we also really wonder why it is always also the same case is that all the time President Museveni comes out to defend them, to protect them. And then he says, oh, I'm going to fight corruption and I will expose everyone who is really involved. Now, that's not fair to our people, to our country, to everyone. But I think there are people who have chosen to make it their profession, who have become chronicle thieves, if I may say. Because why them? Could it be because they are always putting their hands in the wrong basket?
Let's take a caller. Peter in Seta. Peter, your question or comment?
Yes, now. I wanted to first thank Honorable Karuhanga.
Yes.
Now, yesterday Andrew Mwenda talked. He said he was the first person to land on this document that you are presenting. Yes. And he put in an individual interest in investigating on those documents. But he failed because it needed really a lot of money for him to go through all those banks you stated. Then again, later on, he went and investigated them, nation media and that one of Kenya, also to join hands with him to make investigations. But again, he failed. And that's why he went to the president. So he visited the president. That's when that commission of inquiry was formed. But all in all, when that investigation was carried out, that information was. But that's why the president, sat down with that information that those documents are fake. So I really don't know if really Andrew Mwenda took in all those, and it's really honor Andrew Mwenda as far as investigations are concerned. I don't know really what you can tell the nation. And you really differ too much from what Andrew Mwenda said and give us better information from the source of the information you got. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well put, Peter. It's going to be extremely expensive for you as Parliament and the ad hoc committee to investigate these claims, because that means traveling to all these countries and verifying these documents.
Yes. Yeah. You know, when you look at it in isolation, you may think it's expensive, but actually it is also not very expensive, because look, we are talking about 68 billion, another 22 billion. We are here to establish what the Honorable Mamamba was received. Now, already we are talking about over 90 billion. Probably I don't think Parliament will even need 1 billion to do this investigation. And you see, what Parliament does is not pick an issue in isolation. Parliament is trying to send a message across all public officials that, one, there is nobody who is indispensable. Two, that we are not going to stop at anything other than catching whoever steals public funds, exposing them, charging them, and if possible, convict them if there is evidence. So we are not going to, we are sending a message. It's bigger than just this one particular case. So let's look at it in a bigger, at a bigger scope and in a bigger magnitude. We all know, and it has been said, written about, that close to 900 now, because before there is talk of about 500 billion that we lose every year through. Now it has come to almost about 900 billion that we lose every year through corruption. This is a lot of money. You imagine what 900 billion would do in this country. I'm very sure we would have no potholes. I'm very sure we would no longer be crying, oh, we have no technical institutes. I'm very sure the youth would now be comfortable working in factories and industries, would have medicine in the health centers. Our doctors would be comfortably living well and driving cars and taking their kids to good schools. Our teachers and lecturers would be so happy. So that's what we are talking about.
In Parliament, Kutesa did say, while making his case, that
Yes.
investigations have been done before, just like everyone says, and the president said himself.
Yes.
And he has been found to be extremely clean, himself and Hilary Onek. And they said nothing was recovered in that investigation. They did not find any evidence that obviously did charge them with. But he did also say there is no need for another extra investigation. He doesn't see a need. And the resolution says now there is obviously will be an investigation, but he didn't see need for one.
Certainly he would not see a need for one, because one colleague was commenting and said, who wouldn't come out to defend his in-law anyway? Yeah. So the investigation is very, very critical.
Again, because it's interesting, Hilary Onek does say he has no problem stepping aside and investigations continuing. But you have the Honorable Kutesa in a clip we played earlier saying that in Kenya, it happens because it's in the constitution. Here, it's never been put in the constitution that a minister has to step aside or even resign if he's claimed to have been bribed or in any corruption scandal.
Now, let the Honorable Kutesa not hide any legal semantics. He is a lawyer, a senior lawyer. He knows that not every article of this constitution is so directly placed. Parliament is empowered to investigate and make resolutions.
Let's discuss the threats to your life. Today, you actually came out, and because everyone has been wondering how safe you are. I know that on Monday night, through my very close investigations, we know that you were escorted to your home on Monday night. I don't know how safe you are. Do you have any threats on your life?
Well, at first, everyone was very concerned, and I didn't take it very serious. I thought, oh, maybe God will always protect us. Until yesterday evening, when 3 people, one came and told me, Gerald, there is a plan. You guys are going to be harmed, and they blame it on the oil companies. And the first 2, I didn't take them serious. But I saw somebody drove to my place at 3 a.m. And he said he wanted to talk to me, and I said, okay. He was telling me about the same. So I said, okay, maybe this is serious. Because by the time 3 people come, people you really respect and you think really care about you, he tell you all this, probably you have reason to be concerned. Honestly, I have no worries at all. One is that if you can't stand the heat, then you get out of the kitchen. I went into politics knowing that it is very possible anything or anybody can do anything at any time. But I also know that really, and that is if you are lucky, each one of us will certainly at one point be placed in their own coffin. And that is if you are lucky to actually be placed in a coffin. But also too, yes, I certainly sympathize with my family. Yesterday I was told my mother she had to go and see a doctor over pressure. It really it did touch me. But, well, there are several mothers out there who are really suffering, who have children, who are probably in worse situations than myself, who have no school fees, who have no medicine, who are dying in the hospital corridors.
Is that what moves you? Because that's exactly the question I wanted to come to.
Yes.
What is it that moves you, that gives you a lot of energy and confidence to go on the floor of Parliament and fight some of the biggest men in this country, powerful men in this country, and rich men in this country, to make allegations that you may find a little hard to give evidence on?
What moves me is the plight of the Ugandans. The other day, the independent MPs visited Mulago Hospital and visited particularly the special care unit where they put the premature babies. To our shock and surprise and pain, there were 68 premature babies. There was only 1 incubator functioning. An incubator that cost 2.5 million Ugandan shillings.
Only 2.5?
Only 2.5 million. There was only 1 functioning. And the nurses were busy carrying a baby, moving every after 1 or 2 minutes. They put this baby and then put another. And I'm like, what is it? It was like drama. It looked like a movie. It was unbelievable. And I said, and people steal billions of money day in, day out. And they always say, oh, these untouchables, you talk about them, they will kill you. Let them kill. Will they kill the entire country? So somehow these things are so pertinent. You can't avoid talking about them. You can't. Yes.
All right. We asked a poll question earlier tonight, and we were asking, do you believe the bribery claims labelled against 3 government ministers and the authenticity of the documents tabled in Parliament? I should say that we have received an overwhelming number of SMSs. 87% say yes, and 13% say no. I was asked a question on Facebook whether we as a Ugandan public have the audacity or even the capacity to authenticate these documents. Close to 1,000 people have SMS'd this, and it comes to obviously support your claims. So how do you feel? Your comments to that? That 87% do believe in your documents? You
know, one thing is that if you get 87%, you are a distinction student.
Yes.
You are excellent. You've done very well. So that's.
Is it the way you presented them, in the manner in which you presented them, or is it the fact that they actually hold a lot of water?
They do hold a lot of water, and I want to really appreciate Ugandans for looking beyond just the writings on the pages, which actually we're also looking for. We are saying there is this evidence. We are not forensic experts. We can't tell whether it is true. We can't quickly even get to these banks. But can it actually guide us to get some information that can incriminate or expose some of these individuals or even other individuals? And we were all in agreement. We said, yes, it is possible. So I said, let's use this opportunity. And I know that's what Ugandans are communicating. I have received, I don't know how many calls. There is no single person that has actually come out to say, oh, Gerald, you did a very bad thing. They're all saying, yes, we are behind you. I've talked to my colleagues, they're all saying everybody in their constituencies are very excited. But indeed, some people really are caring about Ugandans and they want to fight corruption.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you so much for your time. I should say over 100 comments on Facebook, and not a single one was against your investigations or even against your results in the documents. We have come to the end of tonight's show. We thank you so much for your calls and SMSs and your comments. We will be back next week with another very topical issue to discuss here on the sport. I thank so much, my guest. And like he has said, we are all Ugandans who love our country extremely so much, and we need to continue to pray for our country for the way forward. For God and my country, I'm Maurice Mugisha. Good evening.
Yes, thank you.